Hello there, welcome to the channel and the continuation of the Romulan Klingon comparison fleets. This episode is on the Klingon D5 class cruiser, obvious precursor in the lineage to the vaunted D7 and Katinga series, although that was probably more of a Federation or human naming convention rather than anything, but there you go. Please like, share, subscribe and comment down below, and up here there is probably a link to the full playlist of all the Romulan and Klingon videos I have done so far, if I remember to put it there. With that said, let's get started on this video. The D5 class was definitely in service by 2147, as the Vulcans had fully documented the vessel as operational by this point. The ship served a multitude of duties throughout the Klingon Empire, serving as both a battle cruiser and, with less military direct variants, serving as tanker vessels and other types of freight ships. One of these vessels, for example, was used as a deuterium tanker to service the rest of the Klingon Navy. They were mostly used in patrol duties, but occasionally, because of their size and firepower, were used as flagships by some high-ranking Klingon admirals. They were probably one of the larger and more powerful ships in the Klingon Navy at the time. In general terms of appearance, they are rugged, quite large, and have a flat kind of broad appearance and aesthetic that's not too dissimilar to future generations of Klingon ships, with a segregated hull section, a rear drive section which housed engineering and other essential mechanical systems, with the nacelle pylons extending out to the port and starboard to obviously house the warp drive systems with the impulse engines located at the rear. The bridge and command areas of the ship were located at the front, while sensor suites and other secondary systems were located in the neck that separated these two sections. Crew complement of the ship was unknown, but it was probably a couple of hundred, most of which would have simply been embarked soldiers. The vessel was armed with disruptors and photon torpedoes. The disruptors were seen to fire in both beam and pulse configurations, although this may have been different types of categories of weapons mounted on the ships, as the Klingons tended in this century to arm their vessels with a variety of different calibers of weapons, rather than just one singular weapon that did everything. These vessels, like other Klingon ships, had this sort of outrigging and other brutalistic architectural structural designs designed to enhance the ship's already pretty robust space frame. The vessel had powerful shields and energy dispersing hull as well, similar to that of the NX-01 class of ships used by Starfleet. These ships, however, were vastly superior, and a single NX class starship was no match for one and was not even particularly capable of penetrating its shields, never mind defeating it in an open battle. The ship had a maximum warp capability of warp 6, making it only marginally faster than the Starfleet vessels in terms of warp scaling, although warp 6 is still substantially faster than warp 5, but it is effectively only one jump ahead. The vessels, though, would remain in service for well over a century, with, in the mid-23rd century, Captain Core commanding an attack on the Caleb system from the bridge of one of these vessels. By this point, the Klingons should have already replaced them with many more and more advanced designs, but Klingons, like Starfleet, tend to keep ships in service well past their sell-by date. If they're still usable and they're still functional, can be upgraded, why the hell not? Klingons do make their vessels so utilitarian, and it makes them quite upgradable and robust as a space frame, and the Klingons do like to fight, so anything that's still capable of fighting is going to be kept around, even if it is in some form of fleet auxiliary role. But in the 22nd century, particularly in the 2150s, these vessels were amongst the most formidable starships in the Alpha and Beta quadrants, utilized to great effect by the Klingon Defence Forces in both its conflicts with humans, probably with Romulans, and pretty much everyone else that was around at the time period. Starfleet would have multiple engagements with these vessels in the early days of deep space exploration, and although never categorically defeated one, except maybe the freight configuration version, which was, I should point out, far less well armed than its main cruiser type variant, which obviously was designed for direct combat with the Klingons' enemies and patrolling their borders. 2 NX-class starships would engage a single one of these vessels. Now, although the ship was busy trying to bombard a planet's surface at the time and left the engagement of the NX-class ships to its 2 flanking birds of prey, neither ship was able to do any significant damage to the vessel's shields or other systems during the engagement. And I would imagine that if the ship wasn't so distracted trying to bombard the planet's surface, and it itself turned its weapons on the NX class starships, one or both of those ships may have been destroyed in this engagement. I don't actually think they seemed like they would have been a match for it, especially with 2 birds of prey backing it up. An NX class starship is more powerful than a Klingon bird of prey, as we have seen an NX class ship be able to engage a bird of prey and destroy it, especially with the enhancements they received by 2155. I think this cruiser was a little out of their range. But maybe the 2 ships could have stood a better chance. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I don't think they could. I think we're looking at probably 3 ships to really match it, because although the Columbia was mostly engaging the birds of prey, the Enterprise was trying to engage the cruiser. But even without the cruiser significantly firing back, the Enterprise wasn't really making much of an impression at all. Now, with that said, don't forget, it'll be alright. Soon be Christmas. I picked that up at work once. I don't know. I really don't know what it means. It's stuck in my head.
I just want to take this moment to thank you for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, please check out my social links in the description box below to Instagram and Twitter and others, and also is down there a link to my Patreon page where you can support this channel and the others as I try to grow this franchise and do this more regularly. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and bye bye.